Hi everyone, thanks so much for coming along to this video today. Today we're going to paint this gorgeous picture of some tulips. I'm going to take you step by step through it. There will also be available a materials box, like a painting kit, so you'll get everything you need in that if you want to paint along and just keep this video by the side waiting until you've got it. So what you'll get within the pack are these brushes. So it's a set of 6. You have 2 flats, an angled brush and 3 rounds of varying sizes. So we're only going to use those today because that's all you'll use in the kit. You'll also get these 8 colours: lemon yellow, mid yellow, scarlet red, magenta, ultramarine cyan, carbon black and titanium white. We're not really going to worry about those colours. We may use them. If I do use them, I will make sure they're in the pack. Okay. You also need to have 2 jars of water, one so that you can take most of the paint off and the second one just to give it a nice clean. Also have a rag by so that you can dry out your brush a little bit if you need to. I always have it just on my lap. And also have some paper towel ready in case you want to clean your palette knife as we mix colours. So what we really need to do is to mix 3 different values of pink, 3 different values of purple and 3 different values of green. So what I mean by that is light to darks. Now they don't have to be exactly the same shade as on the picture, as the reference picture, as long as we've got those 3 kind of different shades, values, it's all good. I just realised, sorry for that squeak of my chair, we're a bit low on some of the colours, but I was going to fill it up, but I'll just wait and see if we run out or not. We probably will. Now we're going to use quite a lot of magenta. Now this is how I store my paints because it keeps them for other projects and there's less waste. So I'm going to get quite a bit of that out ready to mix. We'll be using quite a bit of magenta. Okay, now to mix purple, we need the ultramarine blue because that has a red bias and that will give us a nice purple when we mix that with red. Okay, clean off, as I say, we clean off our palette knife before we go into the next colour. So we've got quite a bit of ultramarine. I think we will have some scarlet red. It might help in giving us some much darker shades. Of course we'll need black and white, which we can also use to make the value darker or lighter. So get some white out. Hopefully you can see that on your... Oh, I think that white's been a bit contaminated. I'll have to be careful using that. Okay, and then, so that's the reds, the blues, so then we need the greens, which we're going to use the blue and yellow. We're going to use a mixture maybe of the lemon yellow. I haven't actually decided yet, so let's just see what happens. Some of these colours have been a bit contaminated with other colours. I use these tubs for art classes as well, so they get a bit mixed up. Okay, I think we're okay just to get started. So I think what I'm going to do is do the background ones first. So we've got the big tulip here, and then we've got this big tulip here. So we're going to go into the background, and actually we don't need to worry too much about the background. Just get some colours down. We can fiddle about with it and faff about with it afterwards. So we're going to make our green first. We're going to use the ultramarine and mix it with the medium yellow to start with. That should give us a nice natural looking green, like that. Okay, so that was the ultramarine blue and the medium yellow. Yep, so I think we're going to need a lot more of that. Mix quite a bit up. Get it off your palette before you clean your palette to make sure there's enough paint left behind. Okay, so that's our darker green. So we're going to come in and make some more of that, but in lighter versions. Oh, struggling to get that up. There we go. Let's mix in some of the yellow. Now, the more yellow we put on, it will probably lighten it anyway and make it more of a yellowy green. So we can do it that way. And then also add white to that to give us another variation. Can you see how that's becoming quite a bit more yellowy than that colour first of all? So what we can do is have some more yellow here and add that. There you can see that's getting even lighter. And we may need to mix a bit more of this as we go along because there's quite a bit of green on there, isn't there? And it is only in the background, but there's still quite a bit. So we'll make some more green and then add some white over here, and that will give us our lightest value. So we're just going to focus on the greens to start with. Let's get some of that white. Try not to get any of the contaminated white that we've got a bit mixed up. It doesn't matter if it's only a tiny bit, don't worry too much. There we go. So we've got quite a few different values of greens there to use on our painting. I'm happy with that. Okay. So make sure your palette knife is all cleaned off so that the paint doesn't dry on your palette knife. And we need to wet our brushes. So we're going to first of all use our, I think actually we'll use the angled brush first of all. So we're going to wet our brushes and we're going to come into the areas that we know are going to be green and just those areas. So I'm coming in with the darker green first of all, and I'm just going to block in those areas that are green. So, I mean, very often most paintings, I won't do this. I will do a whole background and then we paint the foreground on top. But because this has got such definite sections of colour, we need to be going in. Right, there's some really dark green in there in the background, so we need to get some of this and we need to wash our brush. I'm going to pick up a bit of black out of here and just put it on. Oh, we've already got it, silly me. Pick up some black from in here. Now you don't want much, so if you get your brush full like that, get it off. But it is nearly black green back there in the background, so we do want it quite black. Now the reason why I say don't mix with your brushes like I just did is because your brush will get clogged with all that paint and we don't want that. Okay, so the darkest bit here, excuse me, is all the way actually down to here. So we need to come in with that dark green, keep coming down all the way to here. Now if you feel that it's not moving about or filling in the grooves of the canvas, the paper, then just you probably need a bit more paint or a bit more water. Okay, and then let's see down here, I seem to have missed a bit, but I would say here is where it is dark. There we go. And I'd say over here is very dark as well. So remember, we're just blocking in our colour. It's our first layer and we really are just blocking in. Okay. And then there's a bit here, this bit here, as it twists round here. Remember, if you make a mistake at this bit, don't worry too much because it is the background, and also if it's not in exactly the right place, it's not going to matter later on at the end of the day. Okay, it's quite dark there, and this bit here. Now what I'm going to start to do is change my colour as I go, because it's quite dark there, but then it starts to become more of that natural green. So we can come in with some of that there and mix that through. So we've got some of the natural green coming into that darker green, and the same here, kind of up like that with some of that more natural looking green. And this is a lighter green in here as well. Okay, don't forget, if we have gone a bit dark on some, we're going to come in and do a second layer anyway, so don't worry too much. As long as it's green, it's fine. Right, and here, this needs to be a bit darker, and then kind of spread across. And it doesn't matter if you go over your picture a bit, because we can also come back and go over that when we do the next layer. Really, we are just putting in those values, right? So you can see there's a really dark bit in there, so I'm going to come back to that. Right, so here we're going to use the angle brush, make the most of that angle till you get our lines in, and just come down here as well. There we go. Okay, now I did say that that was a really black area, so sometimes it's good to go straight in with that black and really show that it's dark. And I'm feeling that here as well. I think see, it's not, yeah, so it's about here and coming down. See, that paint's already dried. Acrylic is quick drying, so if you want to do blending, you need to do it while it's wet. But because they're so similar in value, what I'm putting down, it's fine. And that just kind of stop up there, and that's in the background. I'm happy with that. Right, now this leaf has got a bit dark in the middle, not that dark, but that's fine. As I say, we can come over the top afterwards. Just going to clean my brush off and get some definite lighter variations around the edge. Oh, that's lovely. Look at that light colour. It's the yellowy green that we mixed. That will give us the shape of the outside of that leaf. Okay, there we are. And then we can come in with a real lighter one afterwards, but I'm just going to put a little bit down just to push the yellowy greenness back a little bit. Because although I like it and I want it there, I maybe don't want it that strong. There. So you can start to see how it's going to look and build up. Right, so this bit here is still quite dark green. I mean, I'm tending not to wash out my brush too much, because actually it's nice for the colours to mix and blend in, and it's more natural like that anyway. Get some more paint. Okay, and then again, it's really dark in here. Okay. Make sure you go to the edge of the canvas so that if you hang it up or if you get it framed, it goes right up to the edge. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes you can put some tape around the edge and just kind of leave it there, and that's fine. Okay, so some darker green up here. So I'm just blending in where I feel I want to blend it in. And now I'm going over maybe some of the other areas just briefly before I go up to the top. Right, so we get this other kind of what I would say is our mid green, and we're going to put this shape in here. So it's quite an obvious kind of straight up shape, and then kind of, oh no, actually, have I done the wrong bit there? Because that's the dark bit, isn't it? So it's this bit here that needs to be green. So we'll have to remember that that's got to be pink over there. Yeah, so that was the flower. See how easy it can it can be when you're doing the blocking in to get it not quite right, and that's okay because mistakes happen. Okay, so I'm going to push that out because the drawing didn't go quite up to the end. We're just going to kind of finish it off ourselves and just push up the colours we're using into the back. Okay, so now we need some of the darker, because that's darker on the other side of that. And the dark colours, the darker values will help to push the brighter colours, make the brighter colours seem even more bright. So the dark light values are really, really important. I would say it's one of the most important things when you're learning to paint to focus on. You could paint this literally any colour you wanted, as long as you got the darks and the lights right, the value, then you should be fine. Right, we've missed out this bit here, which is also that mid-green. So I'm going to come down here and kind of just flow it in, because really this is all in the background. It's just kind of, we won't really see the detail of it. It's just lots of different greens. And that's why you need the different greens, because we are trying to show the variation in the foliage. As these are botanicals, we need to make sure that they look quite real. Yeah, that's in the background, so that can stay there. Okay, so this bit's pink. This is the tulip. So I did the dark bit here, so I need to do another kind of little bit of lighter green here, which is kind of this one coming up and then coming round, and then this will just all be flower. Excuse me. Got a tickle. And then I'm going to come in with a lighter bit here, because it is starting to dry, so I can just kind of come in and show that this bit here is a bit lighter. I think we might actually need some more white in there. Let's make it even lighter. Let's go for that. There we go. Come around there and just kind of blend it in. Doesn't need to be just on the edge, we can push that lighter in. Same here. Don't forget, we'll come back anyway to lighten all of this up, so don't worry. So we've got that big bit there. That's the dark edge, so I'd say this is the bit coming down here. And I'm not going into too much detail with this, because I don't want to. Not in the background, it's not necessary. That is green there, lighter green, and then we need to go back into our slightly darker greens to fill that in the background there. That's purple, that bit there. Let's get that darker. It's much darker than that, isn't it? But again, it doesn't really matter, because we'll be coming in anyway and changing it all. Try and go in the direction of the way you want it to flow, so that it does make sense. I think I've missed a little bit of that darker green, just a little bit in there, but that will help to make the shape up. By having that darker, it'll help with the shape of the stem. So I'll come back in down those bottom areas. I think I've got all my greens in mainly, and it's just pinks now for down there. So just checking, double checking this area. Fine. So this is all pinks and purple, so we need to come into here with some of our darker green, this bit here, and mix it in with our mid green, and it's this bit here. Remember, we need to come and carry the painting on past where we've drawn it. There will be a printable for you on my website when this is all done. I will be doing this in person first and then releasing on YouTube and releasing the paint pack. The in-person sessions are local to me here in Cornwall in the UK. Although nobody's booked yet, so it may not happen. Right. So that's that bit of green done. Now we do need quite dark up here again. The dark bit seems to be here. My brush is a bit wet. And then we'll come in with the medium green. And just always remember to keep following that up to the edge, because the picture isn't quite as big as the canvas, almost. So you just have to carry the picture on off the canvas. Get some of that darker green, just get a little bit of black. Black is a very pungent colour and will take over the colour you're mixing it with, so make sure you've got the right amount. I want quite a bit, so that's perfect. It's a nice kind of army green, isn't it? That green, it's a dark green, very, very dark. But that's what's useful about our blacks and whites. The whites really help to give us a light value and the black helps to give us a darker value. Now we can leave it as smudged out as we want. We can leave it this smudged out. That's not a problem. Or what I'm probably going to do is come back and just kind of just get a feel for a little bit of detail. I haven't decided. Sometimes I just like the background to look blurred out. I don't want to put too much emphasis there, but we'll see. Let's wash my brush out. It's getting a bit clogged with different greens, and then I start to mix in and look the same. So that's it. I want that bit to look lighter, and that needs to look lighter, and then another lighter bit here. So there's another line of it. Okay. And this bit needs to look a bit lighter. But as I say, we can come back and do all of the highlights at the end. We're just getting a base of colour down, which is the most important thing at the beginning, just to kind of block in where we're going with what. So we now need to mix our pinks. We'll do the pinks first, I think. It may be that we need, because some of them colours mix in, that we need our pink and our purple. And to be honest, we've got a great pink there. Let's add a bit of white and see what we get. That's possibly a bit too pink. Maybe if we just add a little bit of that red. What kind of colour do we get there? Okay, that's fine. So we've got our, that's kind of a mid-tone. Let's get mid-value, sorry, a little bit of black and make a darker pink. Now that's going to be for the base here. If you can see there, it's really, really dark pink. And it looks very dark on the camera, but when we put it on paper, it'll be perfect. So then we need to mix ourselves a much lighter version for our highlights. I mean, we'll come in with white at the very end anyway, which will finish it off. Also, guys, if you're watching this, please could you like, follow, comment, share, all those things. Click the notification bell. Let's come in there with some white to make our really light pink. But most of it will be this mid colour where it's mostly pink and just a little bit of white, because that's our mid-range. Okay. So we're going to start, I think, in the middle, and this is quite a dark colour in the middle, so we'll probably have to mix more and more of this colour as we go along. That's fine. So you can see it's kind of like that deep deep pink, and remember that black will really want to soak up the pink, so just be careful with that. Right, get quite a bit on your brush so that we can fill in the canvas with as much as that as we can. Okay, and then we're coming in, we can still keep some of that dark on the brush, so we're going to come up and blend in some of that with the top of our petal. Okay, now don't worry, you're not going to get this perfect on the first layer. We're going to keep coming back, so we've got a base colour there, and that's what we need. We're going to come in now with our dark again, and pretty much that's going to be at the bottom of most of the petals. Make sure you're painting in the direction of the petal, and then the petal will automatically come into shape. So we'll come around with this pink, which is our mid pink colour, and it's okay if there's other shades of dark or light in it. We're not trying to get it look exactly perfect as the picture. It's just going to be our version. Just enjoy the process. Okay, so I'm going to come around because that's that petal. I need some more water. I can feel the dryness. You can probably even hear it. Okay, so get all that filled in. And then we can start to come in with more of the light and push that in. Okay, there's quite a bit of a mixture of paint on my brush, so I'm just going to take that off for the minute. We'll let that dry so we can come in with the other values in a moment. Now this one's an interesting one because the darks are actually I think it's a bit purple, isn't it? Really, what I've done. I thought it was quite red, but actually it's more purple. It's fine. We can have two purple tulips. Right. And we're going to come up around this way. More water. Like that. So we're still actually going in that direction. This actually folds round. Remember, these sessions, I want you to enjoy yourself. I just don't want you to be thinking it's got to, every single little thing has to look exactly like what's on that picture. It really doesn't. We're just getting a feel for some tulips in the background and just enjoy the process. That's the most important thing, is that you are enjoying the process. Okay, so I'm going to take most of that dark off that I've just mixed now. Maybe just come in and put some of it here so we're not wasting it, and some of it in here. Now don't worry, I know you're thinking it's looking dark. We come up in layers, we work in layers from dark to light with acrylics, so we want it to be quite dark, which is why we're doing the dark and medium tone colours mainly to start with, and we can come in and change it as we go. We're not going for realism here, we're just going for a sense of some tulips and the petals and the leaves. That's the main thing. So just blocking in the colour right now. We're not looking for anything too real. Still quite a lot of dark in my brush, so we'll use that here. Right, that's a very light bit over the top there. So we'll come in with this dark bit here. but then it starts to lighten again here. Make sure you've got enough paint on your brush. If you haven't, it won't blend, it won't spread around. Okay, and then in here is a really dark bit again. It's almost black actually. You might have to go over this again and get that black in. So I'm just going to add a little bit of black to that blacky red, and now it is actually going to look very black, but that's what I want. And we're just going to come down here, and we've got this shadow here. This is the back of the tulip. Flick here. You can always flick round your brush to paint in that direction more easily. I am going to come in here a bit as well and put some more of that dark here, because there is a shadow on that one. And I'm also going to come in here and make that much darker. Need to get some more water on my brush. It's really important to make sure that our dark values are as dark as we need them for the lighter values to show up. So let's make these pinky purple dark shades as dark as we can without ruining it, because that will really help us in the future. Right, so we need to come up here again with some of that dark to show the depth. Okay, get some more of the pink in. It's looking a bit too black now. Get some more water to help with the mixing. There we go. Now we're getting more of a pinky black again. That's good. Try and make sure you're getting as much of the canvas filled in as possible, so there's not too many patches of white. But don't forget, this is just the first layer. We're just adding in our, oh, I've got green all over that. We're just laying in our first lots of colour. Right, so don't be alarmed that it looks very dark right now. It's meant to. We are going to come in with the lighter layers at the very end, which will bring it all to life. Okay, we'll get some more of this, and I'm actually going to come in with a really light pink, because here it is really light pink. There we go. It's starting to look a lot more pink now, and as we add that lighter pink on to the other parts as well for the highlights, it will really start to look pink. Okay, so I need to come in with that darker bit again, mix it in. So we just keep adding the colour as we want. So to continue blocking in, we're going to go and work our way up to the back petals. And remember, we'll have the highlights in here soon. Let's mix up some more of this dark. Oh, we needed a lot more dark than I realised. So our eyes can sometimes perceive things very differently to how they actually are. I saw that as being a really light tulip, but actually it's because of how much dark value is in there that's making it really pop and making it seem lighter in value. It's really not that light. Okay. And some around here as well. Nice. Let's go in for some blending. Again, keep trying to brush it in the direction that you want to go in. some more of that lighter pink for the top and bring that round. And remember, please remember that the beginning layers always look awful, okay? It's the ugly stage of any painting, so don't worry. Okay, so I want to come in with a bit more dark here, because this is quite a dark bit. I think the angle brush is perfect for this because it's really getting into, I think I'm going to just try a bit more red there. Yeah, I think that's more accurate to the colour. I think we wanted a pink, but I think if we get some more of that red involved now for our extra layers, it will start to... That's the scarlet red, by the way, in your pack. I think that will help us to lead more towards the pink than the purple, the reddy pink. We needed the purple for the dark bits, but coming into the light now, I think we need to be adding in a bit more of that red colour. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. Quite like that. Okay, so, oh, that wasn't... I need to get it off my brush because there's too much on there. But actually, I quite like that. So we're coming round, and I just wanted to try out that colour to see if it started to make a difference. Yeah, I think when we come to do the other layers, it will look good. Okay, so now I'm getting the really light pink, and we're just going to use just a little bit on our brush, and we're just going to kind of rub it in, particularly into the layer. We don't really want to go in with a thick layer of white paint because it won't blend and it won't look natural. So we're going to now work through every petal at a time and get each petal how we want it. So this whole middle area needs to be much lighter for this petal. Okay, just rubbing it in so that it mixes nicely into our dark background. And then it has some definite kind of white lines there, which we're not going to do yet, but what I am doing is kind of placing them with the pink. Now I am just coming round with my pink, with my brush, kind of dabbing that lighter colour in a bit more. There's almost like a line coming down there, isn't there? Get a bit more water on my brush. And there is also like a really nice kind of blended in white line here. Now I say white, but it's like, it's the colour we're using, it's the very pale pink. Okay, so we're going to do the same on this one, but we're going to go even lighter for the highlight. So we just add as much white as we want to get the white, the light pink to how we want it. And here, the bit we're doing now is, excuse me, very light. So that will do, I think. From the top here, we're coming down. It's really, really light. And then there's some more here. So again, I'm just kind of tapping that light colour in. And that's actually made me realise that the light colour on here isn't quite enough in some places. We need to really lighten that up. I'm only going to do a bit now, and I'll add some more in after, because the paint will start to get tacky as it's drying, and then I'm just lifting paint off, but that looks better. Okay, then we're going to come down here, do the same, because then that will really dig that dark colour into the background. I'm actually going to take some of this reddy colour, the one we mixed the red in, I think, and just bring that up as well. That's nice. And same here. I can see that red colour kind of in there. And it's really nice to have lots of variants of your colours in your paintings anyway, because that will make it more real. You never really have just, especially in nature, just one variant of that shade, you know. We need to mix up different ones. Maybe a bit too dark now. Flick a little bit of white in there. Come down here with that. That's nice. Now we've got that dark there, so we need to make sure that petal looks like it's coming down. That's fine. So we'll do the first tulip and then we'll go on to the second one, and then we can come back and just see how our background's doing. Okay, just wanted to come in again on this one. Make sure now that you're getting all of the canvas filled in with paint as we go around. Right, so now we need to come up here, and I'm going to actually make some more of that kind of reddy pinky colour. Let's just get it mixed up first of all. There's a lot of black in there, so I'll need to be careful about that. So need more pink. And then I need to just pick up some white. There we go. It's coming back a bit. A bit more white. And some more red. There we go. It's a nice colour. And I can see that colour in there in places. So we're going to now create some more of that kind of shape of this one and fill in. By coming in, oops, be careful, don't do a me. By coming in and just creating that second colour, because with that we'll get that to mix in with a really dark purple that we had at the beginning, and it will really give a sense of a 3D petal. Now this one I'm going to come down with. Don't forget we can go over this again after. So I do need a blacker version again. Put pinkier. Pinkier. We keep adding that in until we get the colour we want. There we go. It's just that slightly darker version. Okay. Yeah, that's the one we wanted. And then we can build it into that one there. And it is lighter in that middle bit, so we don't really want to go anywhere with that. And then we're going to come here with this kind of much darker, reddier pinky colour, and show that it's darker on that side. And the same up here as the petal comes down. And up here. Perfect. We'll let that petal dry and then come in with the lights, although there's not much light on there. There is some, so that's what we need to work on. Okay. Let's get some of that lighter pink. Bring that in here. I think we need a bit more red in. I put some in at the beginning, but that's better. Yeah, it's more of like a rose pink now, a red pink, which is what we need because the other side is more purples and things. So, and then we're just going to come in and put some highlights in. I need to get that paint off my brush. Far too much. Now I'm holding the brush at the end because that gives me a bit more movement. loose movement because we don't want to be too detailed about this. Okay, it was dark at the bottom, so we can come in and just blend the dark up again. But don't worry too much, we are going to have some highlights on the bottom bit which will separate that bit out. I think it needs to be a little bit redder actually. I think it's maybe at the end of the day with your colour, just keep adding and changing and mixing until you're happy. I like that colour, that's nice. Come round here. Perfect. Especially this one. I mean, these petals at the front as well, they are going to be really important, okay, because that's what people are going to see first. So we're going to come up and we'll just scumble some of that in as well, wherever you want it. As you can see, it's really kind of mixed in on the painting. It's nature. We're just kind of flicking it in and flicking it about. It's fine. I'm much happier with that pink now. It's more of a reddy pink, and that's what we needed. That was the change we needed. I do tend to do these videos straight off without any practice. So, and as you can see, like the different layers is what builds up and really makes the painting. And don't forget, we've got to come in with the highlights at the end there. So adding that red has really helped us to pull back a bit of that colour. So we'll come up here, and now this colour will help to tie in the whole thing as we start to put in our highlights. I just want to blend in some of that from up here, darker. Remember, it doesn't need to look exactly like the picture. We're just getting an idea of a tulip, and I think we're succeeding. That's what we need. That's all we need. Just an idea of a tulip. And put a little bit of that down there as well. This bit. Okay, so we're coming in here. I've got quite a dry brush, which I actually want because we're just adding now our highlight on this one here. Need a bit more water now, and we're probably going to need to mix a bit more of that colour. So I'm just lightening the areas that I know are much lighter on the picture, and then in a minute we'll add the whites, the much lighter colours. Now I'm just tickling the top of this one just to show that there is a reflection of that colour in that petal. And I'm going to do the same here, kind of bring that round, and I think we need an actual big bit of that colour to come round like that. And then on this one there's only a little bit kind of there. Okay, and we will come over the top, as I said before, with our highlights. Okay, this is a bit vibrant pink up here, so let's kind of mix in some of this as well. Don't want it to be quite that vibrant. Needs to look natural. If it's all luminous, it won't look right. So we can mix in some of those colours a bit. Oh, didn't mean to do that black. I must have picked some up by accident. Right, let's get some more of this, some more of this, a little bit of this. Oh no, I didn't want the black in there, did I? That was a mistake. Hey ho, it's more of that colour if we want it. Not sure if we do. Actually, it's quite a nice colour to come in and just blend in. It's another shade of that pinky red, and I think that will be good for some of these petals that are darker, just to, can you see how it's kind of just giving it another dimension. Happy accidents. That's why just playing around with the colours is really important. You don't need to follow like a set recipe for what I'm doing. Right now I do need to come into the dark here because this bit is really dark. So let's get that petal done now. We're going to blend it up, and I think we're going to blend it up into this colour and then into our kind of pinky red colour here. That's perfect. Yeah, that's more realistic. We've got to try and make sure as well that there aren't any white bits. But when we come in and finally finish off the tulip properly, we can worry about that then. Right, let's take a step back. It's really important. See where we're going wrong, see where we're going right. I'm going to get some white, mix it into our very, very pale pink over here. We don't want it too pale that it doesn't look pink, but we do want it to be very pale. And we're just going to use the edge of our brush and start to put some of those highlights in now that will really finish the painting off. So you do need to be quite careful with this because the highlights are, if it's not dry, come back to it later because you want the highlights to really start to stand out. Now, the white pink that I'm using will go even lighter once we've placed in where we want the light pink. So just keep adding it in. That's it. Until you're kind of happy where those whites are. Now there's a bit here. Let's get some more water on my brush. Let's really make some of that light. Again, get the paint out your brush. You want it mainly on the ends of your brush, so you need your ends filled, but the rest you don't. There's a big bit here, isn't there, which is most definitely like a nice light pink. And then on here, there's a bit that sweeps down. And it sweeps down on this edge as well. That's nice. And we just remember, we're having fun with this. We're not trying to be completely precise. We're just looking and blocking in where our lights and darks are and just seeing what happens. That's the fun part of art. Just seeing what happens. And this is a light bit coming all the way over here. And this up here. Now these are obviously exaggerated highlights and you wouldn't see specific lines like this on petals, but that's what we're doing because it's art and we can do that. But we can start to blend that down a little bit as well, but we do want to kind of keep it quite concise, light parts, okay? There's a little bit down here as well. And there's some here. It's nice. And now you can see it all starting to take some shape. Especially if you stand back from it and look at it, it really does feel that way. Now I feel as though I've abandoned the petal at the very back. So we want some pink and some red. I'm running out of space on my palette. Okay, and then we want some white because we want that nice pinky, reddy, pinky colour that we had before. A bit more pink. Maybe a bit more pink. We'll get there. Yeah, we're nearly there. Maybe a bit more pink. A bit more pink, a bit more pink. It can be difficult to mix the same colour again, so you've got to be a little bit careful. But I think I'm happy with that colour. Yeah, that's good. I managed to mix pretty much the same colour. Now we want to come into this darky colour here because we need more of it because it's actually quite dark in this corner here. So we're going to make it darker in that corner to come up to that light bit. Okay. So I hope everyone's enjoying it and having fun. I'm having fun. I love to paint. I would do more of it if I could. Okay, so coming down in these darker areas. There we go. And also coming back to where it's darker at the bottom and not being afraid, now that we can see the whole picture, not being afraid to really push some of those dark pinky purpley colours right up. Okay. And then again, as I say, step back and think what's missing. Is there any parts that are too dark, too light? Like this one needs a little bit of darkening here, just a little bit. And I think we need to come into this nice light colour here and kind of lighten up that way, just a little bit. Nice. Now what we're going to do, this is the final bit. We're not going to go into too much more detail on that now. Oh, we need to do the bottom. We nearly forgot the stalk then, so let's come in with some more water. With the pinky purpley colour on the stalk, so we do the darker colour first, and then we can come in with some of the lighter on top and just blend that down. We can add some more in a minute once it's dried, but that gives us a good start. I think we'll just make it come like that. Yeah. Right, so now what I want to do is come in with some more detailed white highlights. Okay, so the white has to be very white, and our white there is a bit mixed up. Let me just see if I can get some pure white out of here. Put it on our, there we go. There's a little bit of blue in there, but it's fine for what we need for now. Just going to dry my brush off. I want it to be wet, but just only a tiny bit, because we're going to come and do detail now. Okay, so we're going to dip it, just the edge, in the white, and then we're going to come down wherever there are some white highlights. We are going to come down and follow those white highlights as a pure white highlight. So if it's not there enough, go back like I just did and add it in even more. I'm going to do a bit here, and I'm going to do a bit around here, up here, and up around here, and we're going to come in around here and up and around here. So just use the shape of your brush to really come in and get some strong white highlights in. Make sure that you've got a nice straight edge on the end of your brush. Make sure there's a bit of water on there, not much. And get the edge in. And do the other side. Hopefully you can see on the camera, it's a bit difficult. But yeah, I'm just using the edge of the brush to put those highlights down. And a big block of white on this one. And then just a bit around there. So we'll go back in, pick up some white on the very edge, and put it where we think it needs to go. Just keep looking back, that's the main thing. Again, if you're enjoying this and you want to see more of my vids, please comment and help my channel to grow. Like, share, click the notification bell. Oops, any kind of interaction really helps. I am just a start out small channel, so it would be great to have that support and help. Okay, and maybe a little bit on the very edge here, and a little bit on the very edge there. definitely some on the top here, and definitely some little marks coming around like that at the top of that one. I might even just come in directly with some of the white on the front ones that are really light, and just wiggle some of that white in down. Just wiggle it down like that. That's more natural looking if you just kind of wiggle it down into the middle. Okay, just gives an effect of light. And we're going to come down this one again and let it disappear, and the same on the edge down here. Now this is why I say hold the brush far away. We're going for a nice abstract feel on the painting, so to keep it loose, hold your brush further away at the end, because that will help you to get a looser feel without too many without putting the detail in. If you're holding it down here, you want to do detail. If you're holding it at the back, you don't. Okay, so we've got a good idea there of a tulip now. Again, we can come back to that later if we want to play around with it some more, but we're going to head over to the purple. Now we're running out of space, so for the purple I'm just going to get another clean palette ready. And I'll just transfer the colours over, but I'm going to keep them because I might need them as we go along. Okay, so purple. We're going to need some ultramarine for the purple. Might need to get some more of that out. Okay. And we need some pink to make us a nice purple. I say pink, it's magenta, it's a red really. But for me, yeah, I just think it looks pink. Okay, let's get some red out as well. We might need some of that. I've got some over here, I'll use that. Okay, for the moment, we'll leave it at that. Let's see what purples we can come up with. Let's have fun now. So I'm going to take magenta, ultramarine. Let's get a purple. Just keep looking at the picture and think, am I there with a purple that I want? I would say that's good for a darker value. So let's come in again and make ours a lighter value. Now that's too blue. Oops, it's probably going to be too pink now, but actually that might be okay for another value. That's nice. So what I might do is just take, because they're both very similar, I'm just going to take some of that and add in some of my white that I've got over here on the other palette. Okay, so it's giving us a nice light purple, almost like a lilac. I'm just going to squidge out in the corner a lot of white because it will help us if we need it. There we go. Nice. So we've got a very dark. I think this one could do with a little bit of lightening. That's better. That's like got a little bit on. Let's get quite a bit more white on this one then and lighten this one up. So we've got our dark, our middle, and our light purple. And then I think we'll, just looking at it, there are some bluey parts. I might just mix in a little bit of very, very pale blue, which we can put over the bottom if we feel we need to. It's there if we want it as a reminder. We've got the pinks over here if we feel we need to add in some of the pinks as well. We've also got to do some of the pinks in the background, so whatever you do, don't get rid of that. We will need it still, but we're going to focus on the main two tulips, and then we'll come in and do the edges because that can be all blurred out. That doesn't matter. Okay, think I might actually just come in with a flat brush, although I love my angle brush. It's quite a big space on that big petal. I'm going to go in with, I think I'm going to go in with a medium. No, that's quite light actually, isn't it? I'll go in with a medium one first. Let's just get some colour down. See, such a big space, like all of the medium purple I've mixed has already nearly gone. Let's get some more. And let's just pump it in. The bigger your brush, the more it will take up the paint as well. Let's get some more water on there. That's a lovely purple. Don't want to go over that other petal too much, but we do want to make sure that we've got it, there's no white bits of the canvas showing. Okay, so we need some more pink. There we go, back to our mid purple again. Keep coming, and that's a bit darker, so just add a little bit more white. Add some water, get it flowing. Right. I think that's been good to try and fill that petal nice and quickly. Now what we're going to do is just come in and blend at the same time anything we feel needs to come into that colour. So needed to be quite pale in the middle. See here, very pale. Could even blend some white in straight away. Just for this bit down here. Kind of coming around like that, isn't it? Like that. Okay, remember it's the first layer, so don't worry too much. I'm going to come in with some of the red from, if I can get any. It's all drying out a little bit. Let's try and bring some of that in around here, because I can definitely see it. It's almost like it's absorbing the colour from the other tulip. I want some blue at the bottom here. Yeah, like that. It's a really nice effect. Okay. Wash out the brush. Dry out the brush a bit. Then we're going to come up, and this needs more white in. Don't really feel as though, I suppose this needs to be darker up here. Let's just use that darker purple to come in up here. Need a bit of black in that, because it is a really dark colour actually. So it needs the black. And come up. I think that whole petal there is quite dark really, so let's just do it dark to start with, and we can always come in and change it afterwards. And this one is dark on this side, but then starts to lighten up over this side. So we kind of just need to get that colour on and then blend it in. Trying to get it in a direction, but I feel as though that petal is going in lots of different directions. Let's get some more black. Need to darken that up a bit. Here. We can always come back in with that, make it a bit darker. Do you know what I might do? I might just get a little bit of black on the edge here and make it really dark. Kind of come up like that. That's great. And then this kind of seems to be coming this way. I feel as though it's more pinky purple there. Let's just get some more of that in. Yeah, okay. I think now I've got most of that in. I'm going to change my brush back to my angle brush because I like using the angle brush. Remember to step back from your painting and just look, see if you've got all the colours and the values in the right area, and change if you need to. Oh, I wanted to change, didn't I? Silly me. So I'll just get some water on my brush, and we are just going to come around here and fill in. There we go. Let's get some of this darker colour and kind of push that round, up there and up there. Nope. I know what I'm trying to do, but I just want to make that darker, but like a grey darker. I think it's coming because I feel as though it's like a grey lilac on that side, like a grey, and then the same in here. It kind of feels like it's a grey, so I might have to come over the top of that one. So I'm going to come around here with this lighter colour. Oops, I think it's a bit watery, which you can also do. You can create like washes to go over if you really wanted to. That's actually worked out well. Happy accidents and all that. So now I'm going to come in with the dark purple up here. That's going to go in here, which is quite a nice deep purple. So we need to mix more of that really. Let's get some of that going. There we are. They mix so nicely, ultramarine and magenta. Just they come up with such a nice vibrant purple. And we want to make sure we're getting that in wherever we want it. Yeah, just come along and think where do I want that where I don't have it already, and keep adding it in. See, that's gone too grey, so I felt as though that needed a bit more purple in it. Let's get it in. That's fine. We can go in and adjust things as we want them. That stays nice and dark. And we're going to come down here. I think it's here, and it needs to be that nice darker, more vibrant purple here. We'd kind of lost that bottom part of that one. Okay. This bit here is kind of a mixture of that vibrant purple and the grey black colour. Now I'm trying to just go in now and fill in, keep your brush wet and fill in as much of this space as we can. Now I want to have some of that there we are. It's the colour from over the other side is kind of coming into the colour up here a little bit. So I'm going to put it in. And then behind here is all of that colour, really. There's some purple in it. And I did say, didn't I, that we'd probably, at the very beginning, we probably end up mixing the colours together a little bit. Because pinks and purples, they're of a similar shade, aren't they? Of colour, similar hue. Right, so let's get that in. Get some brush on my water. It's not pushing around very well. There we go. Right. Now we want to get a little bit of a more darkened version. So I'm going to put a little bit of black. Yep. And in here. I think I need that to dry before I put anything else on it, because it doesn't seem to want to actually stick. Okay. And where I had some of that red, I think I'm just going to bring some more of that in. Yeah, that looks great. Don't forget we haven't done our highlights yet. These are just the darker layers. We're coming in and just adjusting as we feel we need to. I quite like some of that pink coming in and creating some new shades, some new hues. Right, there we go. Or tones or tints, I don't know. Remember, it doesn't have to look exactly like on the picture. I can't emphasize that enough. Right, let's make up some more of this lighter purple. See if I've got any more magenta. There we go. Probably going to need a lot more white than that, but that's a start. And again, I'm being naughty and mixing with my brush, so all the paint's getting held in the brush, which isn't good. It's a habit that I've had since painting, that I just mix as I go along, and that means I've got into a bad habit of getting the paint stuck in my brush. Okay, so this is the really light lilac. Make sure it is light lilac and not just white. Oh look, see? Right. And we're going to start blending that in to what we already have, so you don't want very much on your brush. And we're just going to come down and scumble that in a bit. I'm going to put some over this way and bring that in as well. And definitely we need some of that lighter lilac around here to kind of emphasize where the edge of that petal is. And then we're going to come down and just rub it in. Yeah, rub it in there. And then we need a bit more here, and we're going to come round and add that in the top side of that petal there and bring it down to here. Now what we do need to do, which we've lost, which I've noticed, is bring back the dark purple from here. Okay, we need that in there to show the darkness in the middle. Try and make sure as you're doing this that you really are kind of filling in the tooth of the canvas. You really don't want any of those white bits showing. No doubt there'll be some, but I want to get rid of as many as we can. Right, I'm going to come down here with this kind of pinky colour as well. They both seem to be quite pinky. That's the stalk of that one done. Again, at the end, we can come back and do lots of finishes after. Just get the colours down. Same with this tulip. If there's anything we're not happy about, we can come back and sort it out. Right, so where I'm going to have white highlights, I'm going to just highlight first with this lilac, very pale purple, so that it's not just a shock of white on that dark colour. So we need to just give it a little bit of a highlight first. Okay, so quite a bit over there. We need a wiggly bit over here. It is quite wiggly. Then we need a wiggly bit here and a wiggly bit here. Right. Yep. Blend that down a bit. And then I'm going to have another bit here because that's coming into this part of the petal, and then it's a bit darker again underneath. That more vibrant purple. Let's make a bit more. Let's try and get some water on there and push it round. Let's get that filled in as much as we can. Okay. Nice. Okay. So I think I'm going to take a break now. So I'm just going to stop the camera and I'll come back in a second. Okay, so now we're going to work more in the background. I'm going to take a break from that tulip. It does need highlights, but I think I want to get the background blocked in now. So let's do that. Okay. Whoop. So I need some of the darker colour that I mixed before. That is some of the red, some of the purple, a bit more of that magenta red, and then we mix in some of the black. Whoop. That's gone way too dark, so let's try a little bit of that white. Let's lighten it. No, it's gone very, actually I think it's perfect for in here. Let's get that in there. That's nice, and I think it's a nice colour to add down here. Right, now I wanted it for up here, so this is the main place where I really saw lots of like this deep dark red. So let's get that brushed in like it's coming off the page. It's kind of coming around and up. And I'm losing the definition of those petals at the moment, but when we come in and start to lighten that colour and add in the highlights, we'll start to see that come back. But remember, this is the background, so it doesn't matter too much. We just want to make sure we get that in there. Then we can start to lighten it a little bit, just to create some shape here, and blend that round. Add a bit here, blend that round. Okay, we are not trying to get detail in yet, we're just lightening up the area that we want lightened up, and then we'll come in with the detail afterwards. Kind of come down like that, I think. Yeah. So we're kind of coming like, it's like a mixture of the two colours there, isn't it? So that's that one done. So we need purples for these other ones. So we're going to come in here and just slap that down up in that background. I'll do the lighter one first, actually. I normally say go dark first, but I just think this one is quite light, so we're just going to pop some of that in. Get some of the darker purple and mix that in the bottom. I'm not sure if I'm even going to put much definition on anything in the background yet. I haven't decided. It's quite a long painting, so it might be nicer just to leave it kind of blocked out in the background. Okay, and then we're going to come in with, I think it's almost like this bluey colour actually. First of all, let's get that going. I think I've watered that down a bit much. Want more paint, less water. Might have to come back over that. Blend that in with the purple. Don't worry if you go over your flower, because we can come back. It's quite dark actually over there in that background, so let's make it dark. That's our darker purple, but it's quite watered down. My brush had a lot of water on it and I didn't realise, so I'll have to come back to that maybe. Well, for definite. Let's get my angled brush again. The straight brush isn't working for me. So we're going to grab some of this with a bit of border and come and kind of create over this green that was an accident. We're going to create this tulip down here. Just going to use the dark colour again. Okay, and I know that's really just very blocked in colour, but that's what I'm trying to do. Just block in the background. Okay, because for a beginner painting, I think this is quite long. And if my arm's starting to ache, your arm will start to ache. I might even get some of that bright fuchsia on this one because it seems to be quite a bright tulip down here. That's nice. And I might even put some of that up here as well. Blend that round just to give that tulip a bit more life. And this bit over here, I would say, is still quite pink with a little bit of that lilac mixed in. Let's try that. It's like a pinky lilac. Nice. Do we need that anywhere else? I think that'll look nice here. Lovely. And definitely here. I might even bring some of that in down here as well, like that. I'm always looking when I make a new colour, it's like, would that have worked anywhere else? And I think sometimes just coming back, now that we've got the main layers down, and putting some of this down, this lighter colour down, and bringing in some different shades just on top gently, will just finish it off nicely. Right, so I'm coming in with this really light lilac now. Try and get the general shape of our leaves, really get our petals going now. Oh, I've missed this bit here. That was the bright fuchsia as well, wasn't it? So let's get that in. There we go. Cool. Obviously, we'll have to come back over these. That's actually got a green stem, whereas the other ones were purple, just for effect. I'm going to bring some green in there actually, because why not? Because I can. Yeah, I'm happy adding a little bit of green in there. Okay, and it's nice actually. I like to leave some of the colour on my brush just to come in and kind of, when you've got lots of pinks and purples there like that, it's nice to bring that into the green because it shows that everything's kind of reflecting each other and things. Right. I would say it's time to really go light now so that we can see where we need to add a bit of colour. So let's get our highlights down on this petal, on this flower. You can tell even I'm starting to get tired now because yeah, it's been quite a long one. Quite this will be one of the more difficult ones, I think. When I do my boxes, I'll do them as different levels for people to choose from. And we're going to come around with that white really brightly there, because it is really brightly on the picture. Okay, I actually really like how the highlights have been done on that. And I mean, normally you wouldn't have highlights just bam, here we are, but I quite like that on here. Quite like how that's been done. So my original image, a lot of them come from a platform I go to and choose all the original images, because I don't have time to, sadly, to sit around and make up my own. So I use other people's images to create beginner classes from. So if we were to go like full on detailed with this, it would probably be have to be done in lots of different parts. I think I've gone too light there. Let's bring some of that dark back in. Quite like that though. You know, play around with it. At the end of the day, it's your painting. Don't worry too much. I think there's too much worry about trying to be perfect, and I think the best thing you can do is not be perfect and play around. And keep adding things and taking things away. There might be things you like, there might be things you don't like. That's fine. I'm going to bring some of this red in, like that, and I'm going to come over some of the highlights just to soften them a bit. That's fine as well. And then you can start to see the flowers as we add more layers and more colours from whatever we've mixed in our palette. They start to come alive a bit because they start to look more realistic. Having all those different colours in your tulips really does help to make them look real, because although we look at it and we think, oh, it's purple, there's actually so many different colours going in there, as you can see from the main picture that I'm copying from. So many. But again, I like to, as I'm going, I like to enjoy what I'm doing. I like to go with the flow with it and adapt and make changes. Mine will not look exactly like that one, but it will be a rough representation of it, and yours will come out different again as well. But isn't that the beauty of the difference between us? We see different things. I love that. I'm going to come in with some of this brighter fuchsia here, even almost red, just to come and make that a bit more exciting up there. Now what we do need to do is sort something out with this one up here. It really needs some light pink, so let's make this even lighter. Great. So I'm going to come down like that, and then another one here, and another one about here, and then this is going to be smudged in. Okay, so now we need to darken it up a bit and just generally work that in. Okay, come back in. Oh, need some more fuchsia. I was a bit worried that I wouldn't have enough fuchsia. Get some black. Again, I'm mixing with my brush. I do not recommend it. I really do not. It's not good for your brushes. It's very difficult to get that paint off. I think that's okay. So I'm now going to come in and just adapt that one a bit more. I just didn't like it. And if we just come over the whole thing with that colour, it'll kind of blend them into the background, and then we can come in with proper highlights afterwards. Right, let's come in with this darker colour as well here, because it needs it. There we go. And down here, really needs it. But again, I'm just doing loose strokes. You can see that I'm just holding it by the end of my brush, and I'm flicking it up. At this moment in time, that's all I want to do. Now this one over here is a weird mixture of pinks and purples. There's lots going on there. I am holding my brush very loosely and just kind of bringing that down to make it look like that's one petal. I'm going to come in with a really dark colour here, okay, because that's the inside, and bring that round there, and then that will blend into the top in a minute. So that gives us that line there. Again, as I've said, try not to worry too much about the background and how perfect they look like tulips. Just keep it loose in the background. That's fine. Keep it loose. Right. Just want to make up a bit more of this. So I need some more magenta. So that we can come in and do the darker parts on here over that light colour. Now there's a really dark bit here. There's a really dark bit here, which I'm going to come in and get that black for. Okay, remember we're just putting rough lines in. And then we're blending that darker purple in where we want it down here. Just roughly, just loosely. Okay. Because we come back over it again after. As again, it's really watery, that purple. I think I made the original purple really watery, and so now the whole thing is, which doesn't help because we want some definite colour in here. So let's make a bit more up. Let's have some magenta, and let's have some ultramarine. Let's make up some more of that darker purple, and we can lighten it up as we go. Get it all off the brush. Okay. I'm going to dry it. Okay, so I am going to come in with this deeper purple here. Kind of come around like that. Nice. And I think I need to mix that in with a bit more of that dark. So we're going to have to go over our highlights again now that we've finished off the background, and make sure that everything has got the highlights where we need them. You can see there's no highlights really on the background because it's meant to be in the background and pushed back, and that's fine. So I'm going to come in with this bluey purpley colour, which I love. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't really want to make too much detail out of that. Let's come in with this dark colour again. Just get into those nooks and crannies. And just make sure it's coming out like it's already there in the background. Here, I think we'll add some more purple because we had to go over that green. So it's going to take a few more layers. Let's get that dark purple up there. Wash my brush. We need to get some lights down here. I think really some light pink would be good. That's nice. And some more light pink up here. There we go. Spread that down a bit. that purple colour in there. Get that coming round. Right, this needs just some little marks on there. This needs developing a little bit. Just a little bit. It's a bit of a purpley pinky. And then we'll come back onto the greens and finish off the greens as well. But just keep stepping back and thinking, what can I change? What don't I like? So I'm going to do some white on here and then come around and do something here. We're kind of going to give it a bit of shape. Not too much though. And this one, having trouble getting this one how I want it. So let's keep trying. And we're coming quite dark at the bottom. And then we'll come in with the light at the top again and blend that in. And then it starts to feel a bit more like an actual tulip leaf petal. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we just need to go over the whole thing and just go over anything we want to go over. So I'm coming in with some of that mid green here. Like so. There we go. And then we want to get a little bit of that dark green. Sorry, I realised this was off camera because I kept it on my tray from before. So we'll get some of that darker green, like that darker green, and come in. And we'll really bring that dark green and get rid of any gaps. Fill that in. It always takes a good couple of layers to get all those gaps on your palette, on your canvas, mixed in properly. So we'll get that filled in, and then we'll come back over everything and do our final highlights if we feel we want them. Depends how far you want to take the painting, but the more you stay on it, the more detailed you would get. So I'm going to keep it quite loose because this is a beginner, and I think you would probably best do the same. But if you have lots of time and you want to carry on with it and make it more detailed, and then go ahead. Just use the colours that we've been making, and just keep adding them in where you think we need them. That's as simple as that. Just keep looking at the picture, doing what we've been doing and doing more of it, and then do finer details. Okay, just working my way around now, just kind of filling in where I think things need to be lighter or darker, and kind of just blending it in now because it is the background. We want it all to be blending in. We want to see those separate colours, but we don't really want to see like too many defined straight lines. So up here, I think I am going to just come in with that same colour, maybe a little bit darker here in that middle bit, maybe a tiny bit darker in that middle bit as well. Get the medium colour back again. It's quite dark in here, and keep it dark. And bring those down. Right, we're going to come in with some light green now, wherever we feel we want to put it, because this will finalise any of the background greens. Now remember, I'm painting really loosely. That's how I like to paint, but also on beginners, that's what you want to be doing. Just feeling a bit more, try and be free with your motions, hold the brush at the end and just enjoy that creative freedom, because this is what it's about, you know, the enjoyment of it. Please do like, follow, comment, share even. Click the notification bell so you can see whenever my other paintings sessions come on. Try to do one a week, but I am actually a running art business, so, and I do everything on my own, so I'm a busy bee. I'm just going to go around and keep adding in my highlights of green until I'm happy I've got them all. This needs a lot more blending in, this petalous leaf here, because it's in the foreground. We need to make sure we've got that right, like that. Yep, I might come back in and just make that a bit darker, get that mid green going, blend it in nicely. Then here there is a really dark bit for some reason, I don't know why, so let's just put that in because why not. Okay, now it's starting to really come together, and we really are just going to go around the whole painting now and add in any highlights with the white that we want, that maybe we've missed out now with the background coming in. So make sure the end of your brush is a nice straight tip, otherwise you're not going to get a nice white highlight. Hang on. So the end needs to be wet, and push those bristles together, even if you have to use your fingers. Okay, so I'm going to come up here, nice bright and white, because it is in the picture. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to, because obviously it's not particularly real having that bright white, but I love doing finalized bright white highlights here and there, because what it does is, if you put it on the foreground part, it really makes it pop. Yeah, and I may even add some in where we don't necessarily need them, but maybe I quite fancy putting them. Why not? It's your painting at the end of the day, so you do it how you want. So I think the highlights on this one have still managed to kind of stay. Just go over them a little bit, because I don't think I did them white, I think I did them mainly lilac. So let's get completely white in there. So there's quite a nice big bit that's white there that I got rid of, but I quite like it, so I'm going to go over it again. I'm going to actually come in, put quite a bit of white here, because there is quite a bit on the picture, and then what I'll do is blend that in with the purple. Okay, so that I've got that nice white bit there, but just blending it in with the purple that's already there. I like that, that's really lightened that bit up a bit. But it is quite, overall, it's quite a dark tulip. It's quite, there's not a lot of light on there. And this is, but my brush is now full of lilac paint, so I need to make sure it's washed off. Come together, bit of white on the end, and then it will be white again. Okay, and I'm just going to dot, I think, some highlights down there as well. We need some highlights down here, because why not? And everything else is pushed into the background, so we don't want too much, but we can have some little highlights. I don't know why, but my brush is splitting, and that's very annoying. It's very annoying. Oh, excuse that noise. That's my heat press air pressure pump. It comes on now and again when the air has run out. So we're also actually going to pop some here, because that will help us to see that there is actually another tulip over here in this little corner. And it comes around like that, and we'll just come around like that. We're going to do some highlights up here as well, where that's coming round. And we can also come in with any darks that we feel we've missed. I'm just using up some old paint. Okay, and if you feel like you need to add some dark in, then do it. I am quite happy with what we've done so far. Again, as I said, you could keep going for ages using colours that you've got in your palette and just adding it in different areas. So what I'm doing now is adding it to this purple one at the top, and actually I think that looks good. I like that. And I might add just a bit more to this one as well. I'm just going to go over the top like that. It's strange because you can't really see anything much of that tulip in the background, but we need to kind of, because it is in the background, just push it back a bit. It was very strong and dark, and with that lighter colour I'm also going to come in here and just put some of that in the background. Come round with that. I want to brighten this up a bit. I'm just going to go in straight with some nice bright magenta, just pure out the bottle. Let's get some out because we've run out. Oh, got it all over my brush. Of course I did. So I'm going to get some out, and we're just going to pop some in there. Okay, and I'm just going to add a little bit of black because it's actually quite dark there and there and there and there and there. And that's why those highlights help to kind of bring it together. But bring that dark in other places like that just. So same here. But I might put some of that fuchsia directly in. Nice. And some here as well. Just to bring it to life a little bit. Clean my brush. And I would say we're getting there. I would say we're getting pretty close to being there now. As far as you're concerned, I might after the camera's off, I like just playing and adding things and seeing what I think. I might carry on. But for now, I think it's done for you. So, as I say, you'll have all the colours that we've mixed and we've been playing around with, so you can keep going too. Please do subscribe, like, follow, share, comment if you like this, and I appreciate all your support. Thank you so much. I hope that wasn't too much of a long one for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.